Have you ever stood at the precipice of your own insignificance, staring into the void where society demands a label, a title, a skill, a destiny, and found nothing but the echo of your unyielding will? Like Joan of Arc, a peasant girl hearing divine whispers yet branded a heretic, or Rocky Balboa pounding the streets of Philadelphia, raw and unrefined against the polished champions, asterisk hero without a class, who even needs skills, asterisk episode 1 plunges us into that visceral struggle. Released on September 24, 2025, as the electrifying opener to this fall anime adaptation of Shikio Kuzu's light novel, it ignites the saga of a boy stripped bare in a world obsessed with divine gifts. Imagine the metallic tang of sweat-soaked determination, the sharp sting of judgmental whispers like wind through ancient battlefields, the flickering torchlight casting long shadows of doubt, yet within it, a spark of rebellion that whispers, what if your emptiness is your greatest weapon? I was struck by its raw intrigue, a narrative that doesn't just tell a story but pulls you into the arena, heart-pounding, questioning your own hidden strengths. But why does this void feel so familiar, so intoxicating? You'll have to step into the fray to uncover the truth, for this episode isn't a mere introduction. It's a siren call to redefine heroism on your terms, and this inaugural episode, we enter a fantastical realm where, at age 10, every soul receives a class and accompanying skills from a goddess, shaping their fate like the ancient Greek lots drawn for warriors in the Iliad, determining who fights, who heals, who commands. Our protagonist, Arel, born to legendary parents, faces his blessing ceremony with the weight of expectation, only to emerge unmarked. Picture yourself in that sacred hall, the air thick with incense and anticipation, the crowd's murmurs swelling like a storm over Thermopylae as the verdict crashes down. No prior episodes exist to bridge here, but this one masterfully transitions from personal humiliation to quiet defiance, as Arel turns to grueling training under familial guidance, clashing with peers who wield their gifts effortlessly. A pivotal encounter with a fiery rival sparks a duel that echoes David versus Goliath, hinting at untapped potential amid societal scorn. Yet, what hidden edge does this classless status conceal? The episode leaves you on the edge of your seat, pulse racing, yearning to witness how one boy's grit could shatter an empire of predestined power. Don't you feel the pull, the need to see if effort alone can rewrite the stars? Episode 1 propels the narrative forward with surgical precision, establishing the class system's iron grip on society while planting seeds for Arel's ascent as a disruptor. Key revelations unfold around the blessing ceremony, where Arel's lack of a class brands him an outcast, mirroring historical pariahs like Galileo challenging the cosmos-ordained order. The pacing is brisk, almost relentless, like a sprint through the trenches of World War I, balancing setup with action-packed training montages and a climactic duel that serves as both twist and cliffhanger, revealing Arel's ability to innovate beyond rigid skill boundaries. Dramatic balance shines in quieter family moments, offsetting the tension, preventing overload. Yet, fans often puzzle over cloudy aspects like the exact mechanics of classes. Why do they limit experimentation, and is Arel's classlessness a curse or a boon? Drawing from the light novel, this ambiguity is deliberate. Classes lock individuals into specialized paths, e.g., a swordsman can't easily wield magic, but Arel's void allows boundless mimicry and enhancement, such as evolving a basic twin slash into a manual triple strike through observation alone. The manga clarifies that this flexibility stems from no divine restrictions clashing with his dual heritage, sword and magic, turning perceived weakness into narrative rocket fuel. Without this context, the episode's hints feel enigmatic, but they build suspense masterfully, compelling you to question. Could your own overlooked flaws be the key to transcendence? Arel emerges as a stoic enigma, his hidden wounds, societal rejection echoing the isolation of figures like Vincent van Gogh, misunderstood in his genius, fueling a psychological depth that transforms apathy into fierce motivation. His choices, like rejecting pity to train obsessively, feel consistent yet surprising, revealing a core of unyielding pride. Family dynamics add layers. Mother Farah, the sword princess, embodies tough love, her training sessions evoking Spartan mothers forging warriors. Father Leon, the magic king, offers subtle wisdom, and Sister Astia's overprotectiveness hints at deeper emotional scars, her affection a shield against the world's cruelty. The rival, Reina, introduces intrigue. Her androgynous fire, voiced with trembling intensity, suggests concealed vulnerabilities. Were their dialogues transformative? Absolutely, as Arel's quiet resolve clashes with Reina's bravado, foreshadowing growth through rivalry. I personally was struck by how these interactions peel back layers, making you feel the ache of their unspoken pains. Don't you wonder what scars you'd reveal in such a mirror? Beyond surface fantasy, the episode probes profound questions. What is power if not self-forged, like the alchemists of old transmuting lead to gold through sheer will? Morality twists in the class system, a metaphor for real-world castes or meritocracies, where assigned destinies breed despair yet spark hope in defiance. Arel's struggles manifest this. His manual mastery over automated skills questions survival's essence. Is true strength inherited or earned, echoing Nietzsche's Übermensch rising above the herd? Sacrifice looms in his isolation, balanced by familial hope, juxtaposing despair's shadow with resilience's light. These themes don't just name-check philosophy. They burrow into choices like Arel's innovation in battle, reminding us of historical rebels like Spartacus, who turned chains into weapons. Feel the weight on your shoulders. Could you, too, shatter your predefined limits? New lore enriches the universe. The class blessing, a divine ritual at 10, enforces cultural rules akin to medieval guilds, where skills dictate life paths and societal worth. This complicates the world, adding layers of prejudice and opportunity, much like feudal hierarchies. Yet Arel's existence hints at cracks, manual learning possible for all, but rarely pursued. It deepens the narrative, transforming a generic fantasy into a critique of rigidity, pulling you deeper into its textured realms. The script is sharp as a katana's edge, poetic in its economy. Lines like declarations of defiance carry the weight of Shakespearean soliloquies, foreshadowing arcs while resonating long after. No clichés overwhelm. Instead, impactful exchanges, such as family affirmations amid scorn, evoke the raw emotion of Atticus Finch's courtroom stands in To Kill a Mockingbird. Imagine hearing those words in the hush of a village square, the timbre vibrating through you. Doesn't it stir a curiosity that demands resolution? Animation from Studio ACAT captures fluidity in duels, with symbolic colors, cool blues for societal coldness, fiery reds for rebellion, lighting shadows that mirror inner turmoil, not mere beauty but a visual poetry of struggle. Direction employs dynamic camera angles, low shots amplifying Arel's underdog grit like in The Dark Knight's brooding compositions, editing rhythms pulsing with tension. The soundtrack haunts like a phantom chorus, motifs crescendoing in battles to burn into memory, silence in ceremonies speaking louder than roars, elevating moments to symphonic heights. Voice acting stands out. Kensho Ono's Arel delivers with stoic tremor, embodying a soul's quiet storm. Saori Hayami's Reina infuses intensity that pierces, her timbre a velvet blade cutting through pretense. This episode left me scarred with empowerment, a wonder-sparking blaze that ignites the chest like witnessing the moon landing, raw hope amid despair. Pivotal moments collide destinies, a breaking point shifting paradigms without spoilers, evoking universal queries. What if your greatest trial births your legend, like Mandela's imprisonment forging freedom? I felt the ash of doubt on my tongue, the echo of a defiant cry in my ears, carrying Arel's burdens as my own. Reader, haven't you tasted that bittersweet pull, the scars of unseen potential? It lingers, provoking an inner journey. Why resist when the answers await in the shadows? Employing a reverse reading, potential flaws like rushed pacing, echoing complaints of introductory speedruns, reframe as deliberate choices, condensing tropes to thrust us into philosophical meat swiftly, much like Attack on Titan's opener. Complexity in lore might opaque for newcomers, but it invites rewatches. Animation's budget constraints add gritty realism over polish. I didn't like the occasional static shots, yet they amplify stillness's tension. Balanced, it's a bold start with minor stumbles, but strengths in theme and character outweigh. Episode 1 excels in thematic depth, immersive world building, and emotional resonance, though pacing demands patience, ultimately succeeding as a provocative launch. Have you ever clutched a blade not of steel, but of sheer will, its edge tasting of iron and isolation on your tongue as shadows lengthen like unspoken verdicts, the chill of rejection seeping into your bones like the slow frost of a winter dawn, where each step forward echoes the hollow ring of a destiny denied? Or inhaled the dusty musk of ancient guilds, where the air hangs heavy with the scent of polished armor and faded glory, brushing your skin like the ghost of accolades unearned, urging you to question if true power blooms not from divine decree, but from the barren soil of the overlooked? In Hero Without a Class, Who Even Needs Skills? Episode 2, aired October 8, 2025. This forge of the Forsaken tempers the series' embryonic arc of defiance, extending Episode 1's divine dismissal, Arel's branding as jobless, in a world where classes define fate, into a solitary sojourn that tests the mettle of meritocracy against mandated might. Echoing the unyielding quests of David against Goliath in biblical battles, where slingshots slay giants through grit alone, or the resilient rises of Rocky Balboa in sweat-soaked gyms, punching past privilege with persistent prowess, it interrogates identity's insistent forge. What hero arises when the gods withhold their gifts, leaving only the grind? I emerged forged anew, the episode's intrigue a smoldering ember, fierce in its flames, yet veiled in vapors that beckon like unanswered anthems. Can you feel it, that weight of an empty scabbard at your side in a sun-baked city square, the distant clang of swords clashing like the clamor of crusades in medieval marketplaces? The scene doesn't bestow the battle. It brews it, each unclaimed class a call. What unyielding essence might your own exclusions etch if you embrace the empty? From Episode 1 Celestial Condemnation, Arel's 10th birthday rite revealing no class or skills, a stigma that severs him from societal scaffolds. This second forging fast-forwards 5 years, thrusting him into the City of Swords' stern embrace, where guilds guard glory like sentinels at ancient gates. Arel, honed by solitary sweat, seeks sanctuary in the Swordsman's Guild. His petition a plea amid the bustle of blade-sharpened ambitions, only to face the forge's first flame, denial's harsh heat. A chance encounter with a wide-eyed waif, Lilia, ignites an unexpected spark, her words a whisper of paths untaken, linking to legacies like Farah's faded fame. Meanwhile, glimpses of guild grandeur and monster skirmishes underscore the stakes, transitioning the tale from isolated ignominy to interpersonal irons, each clash a crucible crafting connections amid the chaos. It pivots the plot from divine disfavor to defiant deeds, each rejection a rung on resilience's ladder. Imagine yourself in Arel's threadbare tunic, the grit of road dust grinding underfoot as guild doors slam shut like the iron gates of Troy in Homeric epics. Does the sting of exclusion sear your spirit, or does its scorch summon a defiant spark? The narrative notches its nuances nimbly, each measure a murmur of the mayhem masked. What forged fates might the next anvil announce? Episode 2 tempers the tale with the tenacity of a blacksmith's bellows, propelling Arel's odyssey from post-branding seclusion to societal skirmishes, revelations of rigorous regimens, 5 years of self-sculpted strength sans skills, erupting into a twist of tangential ties, Lilia's lineage linking to guild ghosts like Farah's, capping in a cliffhanger that dangles duels and deeper disavowals, pacing pounds with purposeful poise, languid lulls of lone labors yielding to lively lunges at gates, balancing dramatic depth like the measured mallets in Vulcan's mythic forges, introspective ingots amplifying the ensemble's eventual eruption. Equilibrium endures, though fans forge questions over cloudy aspects. Arel's aptitude, supernatural sleight, or sheer sweat. The time skips truncation, vaulting years without visual vignettes. Farah's phantom role, a figure flickering without full form. Drawn from Light Novel Volume 1, Chapters 2 to 3, Shikio Kuzu's serialized saga by Earthstar Novel, commencing 2018, with manga by Yumehito Ueda amplifying action arcs. These Hayes' hammer as narrative nexuses. Arel's prowess, detailed in Chapter 2's training tableaus as unassisted ascension, author notes emphasize effort eclipses endowment. His monster slaying a montage of mundane mastery, not magic, clarifying confusion as creed of classless conquest. The Leap, a deliberate dilation in Chapter 3's codas, compressing chronology to catapult character into conflict, enriching the real with relational rhythms sans redundant repetition. Farah's fade, inferred in interstitial inks, foreshadows familial forges. Her sword princess pedigree a parental parallel to Arel's plight, transforming opacity into operatic overture. This hammer doesn't halt, it hardens, honing hardships as hero's hallmark. The forge's flair with fervent filigree, psyches pounded like pliable steel under Smith's strikes. Arel anchors as the episode's unyielding ingot, his veiled vulnerability the vice of verbal voids, classless curse a canvas of communal contempt. Motivations meshed with metal's moxie masking marginalization's malaise, choices, storming swordsman's sanctums, soliciting strangers' secrets, consistent in their cautious conviction yet transformative, surprising in a shimmer of self-sufficiency that shatters his stoic shell, evoking the emergent evolutions of Achilles in Iliadic irons, where wrath yields to wisdom's weld. Lilia limbs as luminous link, her innocence an ingot of insight, growth glimpsed in guiding gestures that ground her guilelessness. Farah fades as familial forge, her legacy a latent latch for lineage's lore. Consistent as forged fates. Transformative? In the Anvil's arc, yes, evolution etched in every extension embraced. The episode excavates empowerment's elastic enigma, potency's provisional pivot in perseverance, where ethics elasticizes in the embrace of equity, ablation the oblique offering of oblivion for the oracle of otherness unveiled. Past placards, these pulses proliferate via pursuits. Arel's aptitude a philosophical pivot on presence's potency, incarnating in Lilia's link, fortune's fragments as filial fortitude, a subsistence signal echoing Aristotle's eudaimonic efforts or the sacrificial smithies in the sword in the stonous Arthurian anvils. Does aspiration's anvil armor the anima, or does despondency's denial delineate the divide? Guild gates probe the precipice. Meritocracy as mantle, determination's a dance of divergence reclaimed amid destiny's decree. Mythos multiplies meticulously, the guild's gated grandeur. Classes as cosmic currency, jobless as jettison jetsam, embellishes the expanse with edicts of echoed existence, where divine dispensations twine with terrestrial toils, convoluting the chronicle with convergences of culture and crisis, history's heroic hierarchies haunting the hyper-real hamlets. Kuzu's composition, adapted with ardor's artistry, lacerates like a latent lance, incisive as an inset icon, lyrical in its laconic lilt, transfiguring trope into trenchant toasts. Arel's assertions quiver with quiet quirk, presaging partitions that pulse post-pull like the poignant pleas in the Count of Monte Cristo's vengeful vows. Lilia's linkages, yoked with yokel yowls, reverberate with the roar of renegade refrains. Potent, pervasive, each locution a lure of legacy and levity, legating you to the lore. Catch Farah's faded fable flow like a legend's lament in Arthurian annals. Does it hone your heart, this oratorical oscillation? The lexicon doesn't lecture. It lances, each lacuna a lure to the legend lurking. Acat's artistry arcs with agile allure, fluid flurries of fumbling forges, forms flickering in flexible finery that symbolize shifting semblances, crimson swells stark against scholastic sepias. Lighting layers longing, lantern-lit lulls gilding gatherings, umbras undulating in uncanny upsurges to evoke existential entanglement. Stasis in Arel's ruminative repositions relents to riotous rushes of rhythm, beauty a bittersweet brew, not bauble, but beacon, the counterpoint of chroma and crepuscule chiseling catharsis from chimera. The vista's verve, sweeping shots of sword clashes paralleling multiplicity's maelstrom, proximate portraits pinning pupils in pantomime's pinch, montages. Measured measures mirroring mimesis that magnifies malaise, akin to Kurosawa's Seven Samurai gazes into the gulf. Configurations cradle cataclysms, each vista a vault for the viscera's vaulting. The score summons as spectral summoner, incipit's jaunty jangle gelling into jaunty japes, orchestral orbs surging like sepia specters, bewitching blanks with balladry's balm, apotheoses ascending in anthem assaults that abrade like artificial adversaries. Quietude quests quintessentially in quartered quarters, a refrain redolent over any route, incising acoustic aftereffects akin to the intermissions in Gladiator's luminous lulls. See you evoke entities from the ether. Ono's Arel quavers with querulous quirk, timbre a taut thread threading toil and triumph, incarnating his inner insurrection. Kugamiya's Lena Graff's gruff guffaws with guarded grief, fervor firing her febrile facade. Hans Kufa, a velvet vibrato laced with larynge. The climax converges as forges cataclysm, a destiny's duet where pulses precipitate into packs, refracting the rhythm's raw reality. It summons eternal queries. In the forge of our forsaken fates, do we dissolve in the downbeat of doubt, or does the classless fervor forge the heart's haphazard harmony? Feel that flicker, reader, comparable to the hero's hardships in the Odysseus Odyssean ordeals. Raw, relentless, rippling through ribs, the reverberations remain, a routine unrepeated through reverse reading, the contemplative cadences, pacing's patient pound, the opacity of unluck's origins, might murmur as muddle, intricacies ink rusting into incomprehensibles. Yet reframe. These are rhythmic radicals, thematic throbs echoing Kuzu's forged fables, where veils of vulnerability invite the viewer's vigilant voyage. Arel's aptitude a deliberate decrescendo to the dawn. Appreciation arcs over critique, visceral virtuosity as vanguard, though a brisker bridge to broader beats might bolster the beginners. Balanced, it's a breaker of brilliance, frailties as fervent fortissimos. Episode 2 triumphs in its tempered tapestry, character crevices carved with compassionate care, narrative nuances navigating nebulae of nexus, an artistic assault that alchemizes Kuzu's chronicle into tactile tumult. Weaknesses, whispered in the wings, fleeting phrase informs flux, occasional overload of ostinatos. It succeeds supremely, a spell of steel and soul, narrative notes nailed to the nexus. Yet ponder this, the oath that orbs like an or unmind. What if the class you crave is the one that classes your conquest? Watching isn't whim, it's the heat through your hilt, the descent into the dungeon where your dormant destinies demand their due. Strike true, the hero awaits your hammer.